Hello learner, greetings of the day. Let us discuss about two-dimensional geometric transformations. Here let's see what are the different transformation techniques are available so that we can apply those basic transformations over some of the 3D shapes or some of the 2D shapes. So when I say shape, I mean it is a geometric primitive. So a geometric primitive is nothing but it can be a square or triangle or circle. So all these are 2D shapes, or if it can be a 3D geometric primitive like a cube, or it can be a sphere. So any such 3D shape you can take. So on all these objects now we can basically apply some of the transformation technique. So we will see what are these transformation techniques available, and one by one we will discuss in detail about the 2D transformation technique. First, let us see what is 2D geometric transformation. You can just see here, this is nothing but, the transformation is nothing but is the one which can be applied to the geometric description of an object. So why you are applying this, we have the answer over here. But where are you applying this transformation? It is over the geometric description of an object. What is the meaning of geometric description of an object? Let's take a small example of a line. I have a straight line, say, and whenever I say a line is made up of two end points. So the first end point, let me take it over here, V1, and the other end point, let me take it as V2. So here when I say the vertex V1, it has x coordinate as well as it has y coordinate. When I say the other vertex V2, even this has x coordinate, let me take it as x2, and also let me take it as the other coordinate of it, that is y2. So total I have two endpoints with the two sets of coordinates. So whenever you are applying this transformations, you are applying that over the geometric description of an object. Here an object is nothing but a straight line. And what is the meaning of geometric description? Geometric description is nothing but the length of the object, the length of the line, and also geometric description includes the coordinate information of the line. So what are the coordinate information? The two sets of endpoints, or the two sets of coordinates here for the line, that is a geometric description. Also it refers to the length of the object, that also you can call it as geometric description. So next is why you are applying this transformation. Why you are applying this? So this is basically applied to change the position of the object, that is line. Object is line here, and also it can be applied to change the orientation, or in other words, in order to rotate this particular object, orient this particular object. Or the transformation also can be applied to increase or decrease the size of the object. So here you can change the position of the line, or you can orient the line, or you can increase or decrease the size of the line by applying this geometric transformations. So now you must have got an idea about this transformations. Now we will see one by one what are the transformation techniques available. The basic two-dimensional geometric transformations are nothing but, we have the first transformation technique, 2D transformation technique, that is translation. The second 2D transformation technique, rotation. Third one is scaling, and the fourth one is shear. So these are the four basic 2D transformation techniques, and here we have the first one, that is translation. So the name itself says this is nothing but is applied over the object to move from one position to the other position. So translation is basically shifting, or just it's a displacement for the object, that is to move from one position to the other. So the second one, name itself says it is rotation. So this is basically done to in order to orient the particular object. So orientation is applied over the line, and that orientation is nothing but the rotation. Next is scaling. So this is basically done in order to increase or decrease the size of the object. So next, shear. Shear is nothing but this is basically done to change the shape of the object. So if I take an object as a cube or something, shear is nothing but you can apply this shear over the object in such a way that the shape of this cube changes. So it is something like you are deforming the object. Okay, so scaling is nothing but just to increase or decrease the size, so it won't alter the shape of the object. So these are the four basic 2D transformation techniques available. Now let's see the first transformation technique available. So our first geometric transformation technique is 2D translation. So what is a translation? Basically it is a displacement to the object. So what is the meaning of displacement? It is just moving the object to the new position. So this is our old position of the line, and now after movement the line has moved, after the displacement the line has moved to the new position. So basically what we are doing, it is just the shifting of the coordinates. So is nothing but the old coordinates will be displaced to the new position. So the new set of coordinates we are supposed to calculate. So it is something like if a line has two endpoints, let me take it as a V1 and V2 as usual. So whenever I apply this translation, I need to specify the displacement, by what distance you are shifting the object. So that displacement you are supposed to add, and then the new set of vertices you are supposed to calculate, because after moving the line has shifted to a new position. So the new set of coordinates you are supposed to calculate, let me take it as V1 dash and V2 dash. So what is V1 dash? How do you calculate it? V1 dash is nothing but V1, that is old vertex, plus the displacement that you have given in order to move the object. Displacement is nothing but the distance, so which you need to add with the vertex. So when I say a vertex, it contains x coordinate and y coordinate. So this new displaced vertex has again two coordinates, x coordinates and y coordinate. So x coordinate you are obtaining by adding old x coordinate plus displacement. Y coordinate of V1 dash you are obtaining by adding y coordinate of the old vertex plus the displacement. So this is how you obtain the new translated vertex. So let us see this in more detail, how to obtain the translation, or how to calculate the translation matrix in the form of matrix. Okay. We will just see here now an example of translation. So here again I'm taking a line as an object. So you can just see here, okay, line, also you can say line I had taken in my example, but here a point is shown. Okay, so how to displace a point, how to translate a point from old position to the new position. So this is a very basic example which is very easy for you all to understand. So before I start with this example, see, I just call this translation as a rigid body transformation. Why do you call it as a rigid body transformation? See, what happens if I just give a displacement, small displacement to any object, whether I am changing the size or shape of the object? No, I am not doing so. So I am just shifting the object to the new position. So you call this as rigid body. Why? Because rigid is nothing but hard, and this by performing this translation I am not deforming the object, I am not changing the size or shape of the object. So I call this type of transformation as rigid body transformation. Okay, next let us start discussing this particular example. So here you just see I'm translating a particular point. So my old point is given by P, and the coordinates of P is given by x comma y. So you can just take this as x coordinate of point P and then y coordinate of point P. Now I'm just moving this point, or I'm translating this point to the new position, and the new position is given by P dash. So the coordinates of this P dash is given by X dash and Y dash. So now let us see how to calculate or how to compute this P dash, or how to perform matrix operation over here. Okay, so let's see now the distance. Now the translation is given by a displacement, or you can just call it as this displacement, you can denote it as the displacement of the point to the P dash, new position P dash. The displacement is given by Tx, that is displacement of x coordinate, and you can also define this displacement as displacement of y coordinate. So when I say displacement in general, it is just shifting to the new position, but actually when you are displacing the x coordinate as well as the y coordinate, right? So the new point will have the new x coordinate and the new y coordinate. So how do you obtain this new set of coordinates? By adding the displacement factor along x axis and the displacement factor along y axis. So Tx is along x axis, displacement Ty is along y axis. So this is how you are calculating. Okay. So now you can just see here translation values of x dash and y dash. So what is this new x dash? X dash is obtained by adding the old x coordinate with the displacement factor, that is Tx along x axis, displacement along x axis. So this is how you obtain x dash. And how do you obtain this new displaced translated point, or y coordinate of the translated point P dash, that is y dash is equal to, you can just see here, how do you obtain y dash? It is nothing but the y coordinate of the old point, which you can add with the displacement factor along y axis, that is Ty. So y plus Ty gives you the new point, that is, or the y coordinate of the new point, that is y dash. So y dash is equal to y plus Ty. So this is how you compute the translation or the new coordinates after translation. Okay, now how do I represent this equation in the form of a matrix? So remember, in graphics everywhere we represent the point. It can be a geometric primitive, it can be a point, or it can be a line or triangle, or any shape you take. We represent the object in the form of a matrix, right? So this you can just see now, point also I can represent in the form of a matrix. And what type of matrix I'm using here to represent an object? It is a column matrix. Now how do I represent this point P in the form of a column matrix? See, whenever I represent in the form of a column matrix, my first row in the matrix would be representing x coordinate, and my second row in the matrix is representing y coordinate always. So this point you have to remember. Now I'm going to represent the point P in the form of a matrix. So what are the elements of the matrix? X and y. So the first element x represents x coordinate, next element y indicates y coordinate. So this is about P. So similarly, how do I represent the point P dash in the form of matrix? Again, in the form of column matrix containing two elements, x dash and y dash. Okay. So now translation, this displacement also I can represent in the form of a matrix. So how do I represent translation in the form of matrix, column matrix? Again, Tx, this represents displacement along x axis. Ty, it represents displacement along y axis. So you can just see point P dash I have represented in the form of column matrix. Point P also is represented in the form of column matrix. Now all three are represented. Now can I just write a general equation in order to define this translation? So how do I translate point P to a new position P dash? By applying the displacement or translation T. So I can add up all this. I can just add up this translation to the old point in order to obtain this new point. So a general equation can be written something like this. So a new point P dash is obtained by adding the translation factors to the old point P. So this is our general equation for the translation. So all that you have to understand here is how to represent any object or a point in the form of matrix, and here after that what is the translation and what is the general equation for performing translation. So this is what you have to know over here. You can now just see the code, how we implement this translation here in OpenGL. You can just see the part of the code. You can now see here I have used a vertex array, the list of vertices. I require only 2 vertices. Suppose if I have to perform the displacement to a line, I have to take 2 vertices at a time. You can just see here translation factor along x and translation factor along y also have taken as input parameter. You can just see now I'm going to take the 2 set of vertices. One set of vertex is for this is for this vertex, this is for the new set of points that you're calculating after translation, and you have also the old set of point which has to be taken. So I can do this within the loop here, translation. So how do I calculate the translation or the new set of coordinates? Now I can say x coordinate of my vertex, I'm writing this within the loop. So the first vertex x coordinate which I'm adding with the translation factor along x axis, so that when you add up you get the new vertex, or you can say the x coordinate of the new vertex you are calculating. So next again only x I have added, only x coordinate I have computed. Now the points y coordinate also have to compute. So how do I compute there? Y coordinate of the point which you should add with the displacement factor along y axis, so that y coordinate you get. So actually here how many points we are computing? Only one point I'm computing, only one point I'm computing. So this is the displacement of the point P to P dash. So that one point contains x coordinate and y coordinate. So this is how you compute the translation. Now once that is done, that new point what you have computed should be plotted on the screen, right? Should be drawn on the screen. So how do you implement that drawing of point in on the screen in OpenGL? So this implementation is done by taking the type of primitive GL begin, GL underscore polygon you can define, and there, or you can simply define GL underscore points if at all you have to simply display only a single point. Okay, so again you write it in the form of an array. See here, in each iteration a particular single point is drawn. So if you want to simply display a single point, you don't have to use this for loop. Since I'm displaying here set of points, I'm going to use the for loop. So finally a polygon is, that is a polygon that you are supposed to draw over here. If I have to displace, if I have to shift a polygon from old position to the new position, it is not only one point that you have to shift here. Say here all 4 points you're supposed to shift. So for that purpose you're going to take a for loop, and in each iteration one vertex, new vertex is computed. So one new vertex is computed by adding displacement factor to the old vertex. Okay, so this is done in the loop, and now finally once all the 4 vertices are computed, you are ready to draw the polygon, wherein GL begin, GL underscore polygon you are taken, and one by one the vertex is drawn, and finally the polygon is drawn. So this is a simple code to implement the translation technique. Let us see now how rotation is applied. What is rotation first of all? Rotation is nothing but if I take a line, you can just see here the line is already rotated with reference to x-axis. If this horizontal x-axis I take, and if I take this as one line segment, this is my object which I have to rotate. Already this line is rotated, or you can say it's tilted with respect to x-axis. Now I just want to apply rotation over this line. So actual rotation over this line, so something like this to this position. So I want to orient this line in this direction, so that I get the oriented line this way. So in order to perform this orientation, what's a very important parameter? You require angle of rotation. So this angle of rotation is very important, and then one more important factor that you require to perform rotation is a reference point, which you can also call it as a pivot point. So this reference point about which you are rotating the line, or about which you are rotating the object, that also matters a lot. So you require two important factors to perform rotation. One is the angle of rotation, and one more is the reference point about which, or the fixed point or the pivot point about which you are rotating the object. Usually we take the fixed point as origin, but it need not be always origin, the fixed point as origin. Okay, so this is about the basics about rotation. Now we will see exactly how to perform the rotation for a simple line segment. Okay, In this figure you can just see this is a fixed point or the pivot point that we have taken, and what is that fixed point? That is xr comma yr. So that is the point that we have taken, and the angle of rotation here we have taken it as theta. Okay, so this is our original line segment which we have tilted to this, and this is our rotated line segment. So about angle theta we have rotated. So few things that you have to remember about rotation is, always we prefer to give positive angle theta. Why? Because we usually rotate the line segment or any object in the anti-clockwise direction. If at all you want to rotate the object in the clockwise direction, all that you have to do is just change the input parameter. Instead of giving positive angle theta, give negative angle theta. So if you give negative angle theta, just the object will be rotated in the clockwise direction. That's all. Okay. And now we will start taking an example. We will discuss an example how to rotate a particular line segment, and how an equation can be written to represent the rotation, or how that equation can be converted into matrix, or how we can perform the rotation with respect to the matrix operations. So we will just see that. Okay, now just look at this example here, or look at this diagram. I have here a line segment, and that line segment, you see, it is drawn from the origin. So from the origin, so this is my original line segment, and you can just see here the end point of the line segment is given by x and y. Okay, x comma y. And now already we notice here that already this line is tilted with respect to x axis. So what is that angle? It is angle phi. Remember, I have not applied any rotation till now, so I am just showing you that this line is already tilted, and that angle is angle phi, and that angle phi is with respect to x axis. Now here I am going to apply the rotation, 2D rotation, for this particular line segment. So what is that I do? I rotate this particular line by an angle theta, and here by an angle theta after since I have rotated. See, after rotation you can see nothing happened to my line segment did not change, size of that did not change. All that it is what has happened here is just the orientation of the line segment is changed, and now you can see the coordinate of the line segment also is changed. So the new coordinate is given by x dash and y dash. But what is that didn't change even after rotation? It is this fixed point that did not change even after rotation. So that is why I call this as fixed point, which will not change even if you perform rotation about any desired angle. So here this reference point I have taken as origin, and this point remains the same even after rotating the object. So let's see now how to represent this in the form of an equation. So first let us start from this original line. This original line, if I have to represent in the form of an equation, how do I do that? You can just see here this original line has a length of r. After translation also the length did not change, so the length remains r. So with reference to that we will write the equation here. So you can just see x dash and y dash is a new coordinate after performing rotation. So let's see what is the equation that can be written to compute this new coordinate x dash after rotation, and to compute this y dash after rotation. So first let's see the equation for calculating x dash. So what is this x dash equal to? So you can just see the component, I can just represent this in the form of a right angle triangle. So first the original line, you can see I'll just draw perpendicular to this x axis. So this has become one small right angle triangle, a right angle triangle. Now if at all I have to calculate the length of this adjacent size, so with the help of our hypotenuse whose length is r, and with the help of an angle phi with respect to x axis, with the help of an angle and the hypotenuse length, can I compute the adjacent side of this right angle triangle? Definitely yes. So the adjacent side of the right angle triangle I can find out, I can calculate with the help of cosine of angle phi. So if at all I have to represent this x coordinate, x can be represented this way. X is equal to the adjacent side. So what is this adjacent side? Length is given by cosine of angle phi. Cosine of angle phi. With respect to x-axis, phi is the angle phi is the orientation, orientation angle. So similarly, can I write it as write the length of, or write y coordinate here? I'm sorry, I forgot one factor over here. What is that? X is equal to, is it simply cos phi? No, it is the adjacent side. You can just see multiplied by this hypotenuse. So r is the length of the hypotenuse, which is multiplied with the cosine of angle phi, which actually gives you the length of the adjacent side in a right angle triangle. So x coordinate is given by r into cos phi. Similarly, y coordinate, can I write it? So y coordinate also can be written as r into the opposite side. So what is the opposite side? Y always changes vertically, remember. So that is why this opposite side is taken. So how the opposite side is computed? By taking sine of angle phi. So horizontally only x changes, vertically y changes. So these are the two equations that you can write for x coordinate and y coordinates, that is for this first original line. Now same way, how do I compute this x dash and y dash? That is the point that you have to compute after performing rotation. So you can just see the angle of rotation now with the help of with respect to this x-axis. So how do I compute that? So you can just see one perpendicular is drawn from this x dash y dash to the x-axis. So after drawing the perpendicular, this also became a right angle triangle. So now can I compute in the same way x dash, like how we computed x in the previous case. So what is x dash here? It is the length of the hypotenuse into the adjacent side. So how do I compute this adjacent side? So is it only angle phi that is enough? I also know this angle. What is this angle? This angle is given by angle theta. But do I consider only this angle theta? No. I need to consider the angle made by this line segment after rotation, the angle of rotation with respect to this x-axis only. So what is the angle of rotation? Can I take it as theta plus phi? This is angle theta plus this is the angle phi. So angle theta plus angle phi will be the angle of rotation over there. So here x dash is given by r into cos of theta plus phi. Cos of theta plus phi. Why cos of theta plus phi? Why? Because x-axis is only along horizontal direction, and along horizontal direction the adjacent side is computed by cosine of angle theta plus phi. So r into cosine of angle theta plus phi, that is x dash. And what is our y dash? Y dash is actually changing vertically, so that is the opposite side. So how do you compute that? Y dash is equal to r into sine of theta plus phi. So can I write it in that way? R into sine of theta plus phi. So now this is actually something like, this reminds us about the equation, mathematical equation. So can I expand this using a formula? Cos phi into cos theta minus sin phi into sin theta. So you can just keep this r outside if you want, or you can just multiply and keep it as it is, r into cos phi cos theta minus r into sin phi sin theta. And I hope you all know this formula, simple formula. Similarly, this also I can expand, sin phi into cos theta, that is r into, plus cos phi into sin theta. So this is the formula that we have. As per that formula, you just expand these two equations and keep it ready. Now, since we already know that what is x coordinate and what is y coordinate. What is x coordinate? It is given by cosine of angle phi. What is y coordinate? It is given by sine of angle phi. So whatever these two values I have about x and y, I'll just substitute those two values over here in my above two equations. So what happens after I substitute these two values? You can just see how it changes. R cos phi. Do I have this r cos phi over here? Yes, my first equation. So substitute that r cos phi by x. Similarly, do I have the value r sine phi? Yes. So r sine phi, I can replace it with y. So can I rewrite the equation now? X is equal to x into cos theta minus y into sine theta. Similarly, this below equation also you can change. Okay. You can just see now, after substitution, I have x dash is equal to x cos theta minus y sin theta, and y dash is given by x sin theta plus y cos theta. So these two equations I obtained after substituting the values x and y. Okay, so now the same thing I can write it in the form of a general equation. So what is that general equation? So you can just see here the left hand side of the equation, it represents x dash and y dash. So finally, what this coordinates represents, this represents the new point after orientation, and that I can write it as p dash. So p dash in general will be equal to, what is this actually, x cos theta minus y sin theta, and here again x sin theta plus y cos theta. Can I write this entire thing in the form of a matrix? So generally, if I am writing p dash is equal to r, so where r represents one matrix, so what is that matrix? So that matrix is given by this. So as I already said, the first row should contain the x coordinates only, the second row should be containing only the y coordinates. So what is that x coordinate there? So it is given by cos theta. See only the x coordinate, cos theta. So write that cos theta x coordinate here. And what is that next value over here? It should be y component. And what is the y component? What's the y component? See, before that, I'll just tell you now. Here, when I have a 2 cross 2 matrix, what is that 2 rows indicates, or what are the 2 columns indicates there? The first row indicates, you can see the x coordinate of a point, and here y coordinate, second element in the first row indicates y coordinate of the point. Similarly, the second row there indicates the first element as x coordinate of the point, the second element as y coordinate of the point. So this is how the coordinates are computed, and this is how you represent the them in the form of a matrix. So now once I have my column, 2 cross 2 matrix, can I rewrite, or can I write a general equation now? So my left hand side here can be generally written as p dash, which is equal to a matrix R. So what is that matrix R? It is this matrix. R is equal to cos theta minus sin theta cos theta. So that matrix you multiply with the old point. So what is my old point there? X, Y. So that I can write it in the form of a column matrix. My old point is given by X and Y. I am writing it in the form of a column matrix, where R you can write it directly, this matrix. And what is our P dash? P dash also should be written in the form of a column matrix, and I can just write that as x dash and y dash. So x dash and y dash, you should write it in the form of column matrix. This is how you represent the point or the rotation in the form of matrix. You can just see here, we can perform rotation of a point even about an arbitrary pivot point. So far, whatever the rotation we had performed was by taking reference point as origin. But now here you can notice the reference point is shifted from origin to some arbitrary point, and we call that point here as a pivot position, or you can simply call it as an arbitrary point, and it is xr comma yr. And you can notice here the old or original point before rotation is x comma y, which is making an angle phi along x axis, and after performing rotation along angle theta, that is about an angle theta, and you can see here the after rotation the point is x dash y dash. And now we had already seen equation for performing rotation by taking origin as the fixed point, and that particular equation was x dash is equal to x cos theta minus y sin theta, y dash is equal to x sin theta plus y cos theta. So this was the equation for rotating an object by an angle theta but about fixed point as origin. But now here, since we have changed the reference position, the new equation would be x dash is equal to xr. Xr refers to the arbitrary point plus r cos theta. What is r here? X minus xr. So what is here? This x minus xr, that is the difference in the x coordinates. Since r is the distance of the line segment or length of the line segment, which will not vary even after you perform rotation, this r remains the same. So r can be written as r cos theta. This r can be written as x minus xr into cos theta, and the equation is the same equation, minus r sin theta. What is r here again? It is difference in y coordinate, y minus yr sin theta. Next, the y coordinates, what you are taking, y dash is equal to yr this time plus, and the equation says, old equation, x sin theta. So it is r sin theta now. So it is x minus xr sin theta plus y cos theta. So it is plus y minus yr cos theta. So these are the two new equations that you have to consider when the rotation fixed point is shifted from origin to some arbitrary point. We can now just see the code here to implement this rotation. So you can just refer to the set of vertices that we have, vertex array, and we need a pivot point as usual, the reference point about which you are rotating, and then one more parameter is the angle theta. So the list of vertices for performing the rotation, and then the reference point, and then the angle of rotation. These are the parameters that you are supposed to pass. And now here if you are rotating object, and that object is say polygon, and that rotation is happening over the object about an angle theta, and by taking a reference point or pivot point, you need to compute the new set of vertices. So here all the points will be rotating, so all the points you are supposed to compute, for which you require a for loop. So you can see here the first statement here inside the for loop, this is for calculating the x coordinate of the new rotated point, and the second line in the for loop, second statement, is nothing but computation of y coordinate of the rotated point. So how to compute the x coordinate of the new point, rotated point? You have an equation. So the reference point which has to be added, that is given by the pivot point, its x coordinate which has to be added with the vertex, that is x coordinate of the vertex array. So what is x coordinate of the vertex array? What is this representing? The old point before rotation. So before rotation, that old point minus the x coordinate of the pivot point. So it is something like this. If I have a line this way, so I have the x coordinate there, and I have here, this is the x coordinate of my old point, and this is my pivot point which is given by xr. So this is my old point, yeah, this is my new point that I am computing, rotated point, which is given by x dash. So you can just see that x dash is over here, which is equal to the pivot point, x coordinate of pivot point is given by xr plus, and what is that I am subtracting here? The old coordinate x minus xr into cos theta, because it's adjacent side, minus y coordinate of that. So what is that? Y coordinate of the old point minus the pivot point, pivot point's y coordinate given by yr, so into sin theta. So that is how you compute the x coordinate, that is x dash. And now y dash, how you are computing the rotated point? The y coordinate of the pivot point, that is given by yr, plus the y coordinate of the old point minus yr into sin theta, plus the y coordinate of the old point, that is given by y minus yr into cos theta. This is how we are computing the x dash and y dash, that is the rotated point, and many such points you will have in the polygon. So all those points you are computing within the for loop. So finally, once your vertices are ready, you are ready to plot that vertices, or you are ready to draw the rotated polygon. So how do you draw the rotated polygon? Again, you are supposed to use the for loop, and remember the OpenGL function to draw the vertex is GL vertex, and go on plotting all those vertices for which will complete the drawing of rotated polygon. We have now the next type of transformation, that is scaling. So what is scaling? 2D scaling, it is nothing but increasing the size of the object. If this is the original object, the scaled object, if you're scaling in the positive direction, or you can say if you're scaling by adding some factor to the old object, so you're adding some factor to the old object is nothing but, it's nothing but increases the size of the line. Suppose if this is the original line, and if you want to scale this, or if you want to subtract a factor, scaling factor from this original line, so subtracting is nothing but you are reducing the size of the original object. Okay, so this is the increasing, or you are adding the scaling factor in order to increase the size of the object, you are subtracting the scaling factor in order to decrease the size of the object. So that is nothing but scaling. So here you have two scaling factors. So when I say scaling factor, again you are scaling along x-axis as well as you are scaling along y-axis. So whenever you are applying scaling, the two factors you have there, they require that is sx and sy, that represent scaling along x-axis and y-axis, and this is a new set of coordinate that you obtain. So how do I rewrite it in the form of an equation? So x dash is equal to, how do I compute the scaled coordinate? X dash is equal to old x coordinate that you are supposed to now multiply with the scaling factor along x axis. Remember, it's the multiplication x into, that is old x coordinate, into the scaling factor along x axis, which will give you the x dash, that is new scaled coordinate. Again, y coordinate, how do you compute? Y, old point, into scaling factor along y axis. So y into sy, which gives you y dash. So this is a new point that you are computing, that is nothing but your scaling. So how do I write it in the form of a matrix there? So this x dash and y dash represents the scaled point, which you can write it in the form of a matrix. So remember, it's a column matrix. So the first row there indicates x coordinate, x dash, second row is y dash. So you write it in the form of a column matrix. So this LHS represents the scaled point P dash, which is given by the you can say I'll write it as separate scaling matrix. So how do I write the scaling matrix? I write it in the form of a column matrix. I write it in the form of 2 cross 2 matrix. So what is 2 cross 2 matrix? You can see the first row indicates x coordinate and y coordinate. The second row again indicates x coordinate and y coordinate. So what is this x coordinate for the scaling factor? So you can see here the scaling factor x coordinate is given by sx. So the factor or the component of the x coordinate is given by sx, which is our x component. And next, what is the y component here in this equation? I am just rewriting this equation in the form of a matrix, that's all. So component of x is sx. What is the component of y? We don't have any component of y in this equation, right? So you write the component of y as 0 for this equation. What about the next equation, y dash? You can see y dash is equal to the component of y you have, but component of x is missing in this equation. So how do I write that? Component of x is 0, whereas the component of y is given by sy. So y dash is equal to 0 component, 0 into sx, you can say, but what about the y component? That is sy is the y component. This is how you write the scaling matrix in the form of a 2 cross 2, and then multiply that with what? X coordinate and y coordinate. X and y, this represents our old point P, which is written in the form of a column matrix. Okay, so now the old point, which you can multiply with the 2 cross 2 scaling matrix, and the answer that you get is nothing but the scaled point P dash, that is the x coordinate and y coordinate of the point, scaled point P dash. So this entire thing I can write it as a general equation. So P dash is equal to the scaling matrix which you multiply with the old point P. So this is our general equation. And finally, now you can just see the code to implement scaling. Same thing, if I have to scale a polygon, what do? The parameters that I need to pass is the point about which I am scaling, that is a fixed point, and then the scaling factor along x and the scaling factor along y. And anyways, you require the list of vertices along with that. So first you can take a for loop there. Why? Because it is not only one point that I am scaling, maybe multiple points that I have to scale. So you can take a for loop. Remember, I am scaling along x and also I am scaling along y. So both x coordinate and y coordinate I have to compute. So how do you perform scaling? So the old x coordinate should be multiplied with the scaling component along x axis, plus I am taking now the fixed point. So what is that fixed point about which I am scaling? So x coordinate of that fixed point you can multiply with the scaling factor, that is 1 minus Sx. So that is the remaining, you can just say that it is the scaling factor is something like, you have two components, Sx and 1 minus Sx. So that you can multiply with fixed point, x coordinate of the fixed point. Next you have the y coordinate of the new scaled point, which you can compute by taking old y coordinate, which you can multiply with the y component of the scaling factor, add that with the y component of the fixed point, multiply by 1 minus sy. So this is how you compute the scaling scaled coordinates. And finally, once you are done, you can draw the polygon, and this is your scaled polygon.